To this day, I still consider Ocarina of Time an amazing game, and one of the greatest games ever made, setting a standard for an entire industry. But this game means so much more to me than reputation and inventive game design. Its simplistic story and beautiful aesthetic gleamed through my 7-year-old eyes, igniting a sense of imagination I didn't know I had burning inside. Ever since I slammed that cartridge into my Nintendo 64, my life had never been quite the same, influencing my love of video games and the exciting thrills of escapism from my not-so-glamorous life. When I began my playthrough of Ocarina of Time 3D for my channel, I didn't think I was going to be able to write much about a remake of a 20-year-old game that others hadn't already said. I just thought it would be fun to share my bajillionth time playing it. But after replaying it, even after all this time, it still triggers that sense of whimsy inside me, a childlike glee. I couldn't quite put my finger on it, why this game fills me with such fondness and joy. But a part of it was certainly nostalgia, but I feel like a larger part of it has to do with growing as a person and finding a new appreciation for the design of the game, something I couldn't see as a child. The dungeon designs are a real highlight, the first to boast full 3D environments which Nintendo took full advantage of with its free moving camera and verticality, like aiming a bow and arrow freely at Phantom Ganon's paintings or leaping off tall heights to puncture the thick webs inside of the Deku Tree. The puzzles are simple enough for children to comprehend and clever enough for adults to appreciate. But, as Link grows physically and symbolically, so too do the challenges of the dungeons, testing your might and courage, sometimes literally. As being as real as it could be for the time, and has the power to formulate more intricate music compositions, some of the dungeons generate real shivers down my spine with its unsettling and overly creepy dungeon themes, and I love it. To this day, it still keeps me on the edge, giving me a sense of what dangers Link and I have to face together. Although I can admire great game design now, its simple yet epic classical story is what pulled me in and kept me going. Even as a child, Link and Zelda's epic tale of adventure and good versus evil was incredibly easy to digest along with its fantastic world. As the 3 golden goddesses flashed across my CRT screen in their mesmerizing green, red, and blue, a palette of color that has been burned into my psyche, coming together to form the Golden Triforce. I didn't understand it at the time, but I recognized its power and its significance. I knew Ganon needed to be stopped before he could claim such awesome power. But it was Link and Zelda's childish naivety and hastiness that cemented Ganondorf's victory, taking advantage of their mistake and entering the sacred realm. There he claimed the Triforce of power and threw the kingdom of Hyrule into chaos. Indeed, they were righteous, but lacked the wisdom and power that came with age, as do many who desire to do what's right. Although full of courage, Link was clearly not ready and was made to wait 7 years until he was strong enough to face Ganondorf once and for all. After completing many trials, forcing himself to have to grow into the man he has become, had he finally proven he had the power, wisdom, and courage worthy of the goddesses. With Zelda and the sages by his side, he defeated the king of evil and went back in time to relive his younger years that were stolen from him. But it was too late. Link, and by extension myself, had been changed forever, never to view things the same way again. Although I appreciate the simplicity of the story and the deeper meaning within its subtext, like what it means to grow up and how we influence the world for better or worse, it was the game's wonderful and colorful childlike aesthetic that truly captured my imagination and influenced my life to this day. From the world and its thematic locations to its bright and vibrant colors and the symbolic cultures, races, and individuals associated with them, it was incredibly smart to make these associations because they stick with you so well. Anytime I see an assortment of colors or the very elements, a small part of me harkens back to my childhood and the Ocarina of Time. They take it a step further with its musical themes. I can't look at a picture of a forest without the Lost Woods theme playing in my head, which in turn I believed played a large part in inspiring my novel, Oregonia and the Legend of the Meese. Every time my mind shifts to one of these fantastic environments, so too does the theme and characters. It's one thing to create a world filled with memorable cultures,
but an appropriate soundtrack will cement them deep within you. But these places would be nothing but pretty landscapes without their people, the sweet and kind Saria, symbolizing the tranquility of the forest, and without her presence only does it feel like a dangerous place. The stern Darunia, a threatening presence yet full of warmth and life, like a flickering flame of a campfire at night. The sassy Ruto, who like the ocean can be a raging uncontrollable storm one moment and a serene and calm the next. The mysterious Impa, as secretive and unpredictable as the frightful things that lurk in the shadows. And the mischievous Naburu, her spirit as wild and free as the vast and never-ending desert. Then we have our two sides of good and evil, parallels to one another. The wise and patient Zelda, beholder of light and hope, and Ganondorf, arbiter of darkness and despair, willing to destroy anyone and anything for the sake of power. I remember them all so fondly, because of who they are and what they represent to me personally. They are carnations of the beautiful aesthetic of the whimsical world of Hyrule and the Legend of Zelda series as a whole. But they also mean more than what's on the surface, at least to me. Saria represents childhood, fond memories, and teaches me to never forget where I come from. Darunia represents friendship and brotherhood, to never forget your friends and those who are there for you. Ruto is naivety and love, learning from past relationships, good and bad, and maturing from them. Impa is loyalty, dedication to one's responsibilities above all else. Naburu represents adventure, taking risks to follow your dreams. Zelda is hope and grace, while Ganon is malice and dread. And Link, by design, is myself, imprinting the best of what I could be, the hero of time, the savior of Hyrule and my childhood. He is courage, the courage to discover, face, and overcome the fears hidden inside us. I believe one of those pesky subtexts with the Ocarina of Time is that as we grow older, we forget what used to be important to us growing up. Ocarina of Time has reminded me to never forget that sense of childlike wonder. Growing up is a natural part of life and comes with its own problems, but growing as a person, as an individual, is difficult because it involves internalizing our experiences and learning from them. Even harder still is keeping that small part of you hopeful and alive. That idea that encapsulates childhood itself. Wonder. Hey guys, thanks for watching my video. If you reached the end, why not consider subscribing to the channel? And if you like this video, why not hit that like button? And especially leave a comment down below. I'd really appreciate some feedback and what you guys think about the Ocarina of Time, if you love it or hate it. More important though, if you want to support me and get something awesome out of it, why not check out my book, Ocarina and the Legend of the Mist. If you like or love The Legend of Zelda, and if it was an inspiration to you, then I think you'd really appreciate my book. The Ocarina of Time, especially, was a massive inspiration while writing my first novel. Thanks again, guys. Peace.
The exciting thrills of escape said. Blah 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 blah. But replaying it, even after all this time, I still triggers motherfucker.